Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Alanna Fox Starks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing really well in this moment in time, and that whenever and wherever you are making plans to stand beneath the last full moon of this decade. That's right. On 12/12, December 12th, at 12:12 Eastern Standard Time, that will be the final full moon, otherwise known as the long night's moon. And that'll be the last one of the year and of the whole decade. I don't know about you, but that's like super profound for some reason to me. The best time to see it, of course, is at night, and noon isn't exactly a romantic time, so you might want to coordinate the night before, which is tomorrow night, around sunset. That's when you'll be able to see the almost completely full moon, or the next night when it's the full moon slightly waning. But if you want to do any kind of moon magic or moon rituals, or just howl at the moon just for the sake of a laugh, you can do that starting tomorrow night, but 12/12 at 12/12 Eastern Standard Time. I don't know about you guys, but there's something crazy profound about that. Also, tomorrow is supposed to be, 12/12, the day after tomorrow, is supposed to be the day in which this massive amount of plasma and cosmic radiation hits us from that interplanetary shockwave. Something blew up in the universe. That's according to Why So Serious 24D, and she saw the cosmic side of it. I don't know what hit today, though. Something freaking hit us today. I don't know if you guys felt it, but I did. I went to bed a lot earlier than normal. Went to bed around 2 in the morning, and I got up about 2:35 in the afternoon. So, I slept probably 13 hours, 12 hours, something like that. Maybe I got to bed around 1:30 or something. I don't know. But then I went back to sleep again a couple times, and I couldn't stay awake. I couldn't get up. I felt like when I had cancer and I was really, 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 really tired all the time. And it was that kind of a lethargy, like just can't help it type of lethargy. And I know I don't have cancer. Yeah, I'm asking God, no. Do I have cancer? Absolutely not. I don't. Thank you, God. But it's that kind of a feeling, like just super lethargic. We've been having a lot of rain, cold-ish nights, really warm days, gorgeous days, like 70, 71 degrees, 72 degrees. It's been nice. I think the cherries, if they're not here yet, we should have cherry season coming up soon. We're in summer. This is summer at this time of year, but my body still remembers the winter, and every time, September, October rolls around, my body starts getting that it's time for winter rising, sleeping more, the long nights. Even though I'm on the equator, we don't have really any change in the length of the days or in the length of the nights. Obviously, it's all pretty much the same. There's only a 20-minute difference, as I mentioned yesterday. It's all pretty crazy, but Yeah, according to Forbes.com, Forbes magazine, they literally said at 12/12, on 12/12, will be the official last full moon of the decade. I couldn't think of a better time. I've heard that was a portal, just the December 12th in general, another energetic portal. But everyone says that, if it's 8/8 or 9/9 or 12/12 or 11/11, maybe it's true. I don't know. Seems like it's true. Feels like it's true, but maybe we're psyching ourselves out. I don't know. But I thought that was kind of cosmic that at 12/12, on 12/12, I mean, that, that, my friends, that does seem like a portal to me. So, it's going to be kind of an orangey moon, apparently, in the North Hemisphere, so I'm kind of excited about that. Just to be honest, I'm excited about it. For some reason, just the energy of it. I know I've got to take my duende out, and she's going to be so happy. I'm going to take her, well, at least it's my son's duende, but she's been staying with me. She asked him to come live with me in my room for a while. And I made my little Janissa crystal. Today was day 3. And it does feel a lot lighter and a lot clearer, even though today I didn't feel terribly energetic. And I do have a lot of pain, but I do feel less pain than I did yesterday. Like, at least it's starting to lessen a little bit. And it just might be I'm a weather witch, and maybe we've got some more weather coming. Today we did have a lot of lightning and thunder. Not very loud, though. Not the scary kind of thunder that we've had in the past. But I'm pretty excited, about this. This is a really exciting time as far as the end of the year. It's winter. It's time to kind of bundle up. And we tend to go within at this time. And we contemplate the silent beauty as the snow falls. And it blankets everything and makes everything ultra silent. I love that. I miss that. I miss the snow for that reason. And also kind of covers the world with this big white sheet of just ice cold. And it gives you such a new perspective of everything. And I know that all of you that have snow, you might still be happy about it, but in a month you're going to be tired of it. I know. I hear that. I've been there too. You slip on the ice once and you just don't want to do it again. I've been there. In California, we've gotten so much snow overnight in California. California mountains where I lived when my oldest was 6 months old. So going on almost 20 years ago, 19 years ago, I had to go with the neighbor who had a 4x4 truck because our car was stuck in the driveway for 3 weeks. And I remember the snow being up over my hips. And I'm not a very tall person, but that's still a lot of snow. That's a lot of snow. You're trying to walk up on it and trying to teeter-totter on it, trying not to fall, and then you fall into the snow. And there's no more amazing feeling and also terrifying at the same time, because for a split second you think, I might be trapped and I might just die here. Even though it's not going to happen, but there's still part of you, and it's like you try and get through it, and it's really hard to get through snow, isn't it? And you guys know what I mean. I remember being in Minnesota as a kid with 10-foot snow drifts in our yard. 10 feet. That's insane. And I have a feeling this is going to be another 10-footer year for some parts of Europe and some parts of Asia and some parts of North America. I feel like this is going to be a real big one. If you guys feel like moving to Ecuador, just let me know. I know the guy who can get you your visas when it comes time for that. This is a really beautiful place. You could come as an American at least, or European, and you can be here for 90 days as a tourist, and then you could extend that for $150 for another 90 days. So you get 6 months before you have to do anything major. For sure, I was, man, it took me a year to get an appointment after I did that initial 6 months. I was here 18 months before I actually got my visa. And then they were like, oh, you got to pay a fine. And I'm like, it's not my fault that you have millions of people waiting in line ahead of me. They're like, yeah, but you still got to pay a fine. Oh my God. Like $700 later. I was like, oh, this is just not that cool, man. But I did it. It was worth it. I love this country, but I do miss my own. I do miss my own country for sure. So yeah, midnight. I mean at noon, 12:12. That's I don't know. I don't know how does God coordinate everything like that just to be so nice and neat little package and so perfect. It just, there's something special about that, right? I don't know. Are you guys as surprised as I am to find that out about the full moon? Maybe I'm just easily entertained by simple things, but for me, I'm like, yeah, that's actually kind of, that's like super cosmic. It must be a sign of some kind, right? So, all right, I'm going to go into the Schumann resonance for today. According to disclosurenews.it, at 11:30 in the morning, their report says, powerful activity once more, even if limited in time. It was calm until just after 3 UTC, when a first isolated peak reached power 54. From 5:30 to 6:30, it was a most intense part, with the maximum power value at 67 hertz frequency. I'm adding hertz frequency because it makes more scientific sense than saying power. All right, so basically 67. So it's 54 and then it was 67. And it says the last peak so far was reached near 1700 hours on the chart and was at 50 hertz frequency. And then at 1700 evening report, it says, after the umpteenth coincidence 17, it has been calm. So cool. Yeah, there does seem to be some kind of pattern with 1700 hours as well as, universally coordinated time, UTC time, or whatever. Is that right? I forgot what it's called. Anyway, universal time coordinated, sorry, that's it. So yeah, power 67 in Italy, so not too bad. All right, now I'm going to go over what's going on today with the Schumann resonance on heartmath.org. I want to talk about a couple peaks we had yesterday. Let's see. 277. Okay, yeah, in Northland, New Zealand at 5 a.m. yesterday, they had 277 hertz frequency, which we'd mentioned, and then they went to 276, and then 275, and then it went up again at 1700. So see, there's another coincidence with that 1700. And that 1700 was at 273 hertz frequency, again in Northland, New Zealand. So, there's like a couple peaks, and then when I report it today, it's not going to seem as impressive, but that's what it's coming down from. Because remember, we said it looks like it's going up, and again with the Hulului, South Africa, they also were at 271, so almost at that 273 level with Northland, New Zealand. And then they both came down considerably. Well, Hulului not as much, but so think 273, and then when we start, it's a lot less. So just wanted to point that out. Okay, in California, they started off at midnight at 51 hertz frequency. And by 5 a.m. they were at 49, so not a terrible difference there. In Hofuf, Saudi Arabia, they start off at 0 and ended up at 0, just like they've been for many weeks already. Maybe tomorrow I'll take a look at that and tell you how many days it's been. It was 10 days in a row when it was happening at all 0 in Hulului. So we'll see. I bet that Saudi Arabia eventually will just raise right up one day, and when that happens, it's going to be very high values, like it was in Hulului, the same. So if I could predict that scientifically, it's pretty cool. I don't know. We'll see. We have no idea what's going to happen. Lithuania started off at 112 hertz frequency at midnight and only went down to 110 by 5 a.m., but they were up to 113 at 2 a.m. So it's a little bit of a wave there going on. In Alberta, Canada, they start off at 59 hertz frequency at midnight and went up to 62 by 5 a.m. And in Northland, New Zealand, so you remember they came down from 273 just a few hours before. At midnight, they were at 181. But by 5 a.m. in Northland, New Zealand, they were already at 116. Even an hour before that, 127, then 141, 155. And I mean, they just plummeted. Like in 1 hour, they went from 181 at midnight to 167 at 1 a.m. and then an hour later to 155, then 141, 127. So in landing at 116. So tomorrow they might be like at 95 at midnight, you know what I mean? Or maybe even before, below that. We'll see how far that plummets tomorrow. But that's like a pretty crazy wave pattern. And it's like a double peak pattern. It's like it goes up and then it goes a little bit of a dip and then it goes up into like a double mountain. It looks like a mountain with almost like a volcanic shape, which is ironic because that volcano went off unexpectedly there. And then here's the Schumann resonance surrounding that event. It's very interesting. All right, so where were we? Hulului, South Africa started off at 268 hertz frequency at midnight, and by 5 a.m. they were at 264 hertz frequency. So not a lot of difference, just slowly but surely coming down 1 or 2 points at a time. And there you have it for the Schumann resonance today. For the Foundation of Inner Peace and A Course in Miracles, or acim.org, we are on lesson 182 today, and this is what the lesson is. I will be still an instant and go home. I will be still an instant and go home. The world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind you know that this is true. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there were a place that called you to return. Although you do not recognize the voice nor what it is the voice reminds you of, yet you still feel an alien here, from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are in exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. No one but knows whereof we speak, yet some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and yet do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? We speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. 1,000 homes he makes, yet none contents his restless mind. He does not understand, he builds in vain. The home he seeks cannot be made by him. There is no substitute for heaven. All he ever made was hell. Perhaps you think it is your childhood home that you would find again, the childhood of your body and its place of shelter are a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. Yet there is a child in you who seeks his father's house and knows that he's an alien here. The childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. Where this child shall go is holy ground. It is his holiness that lights up heaven, and that brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. All right, it goes on and on and on. Let's see. This one's only 12 paragraphs. The end part is interesting. I'm going to read the end, but if you want to read the whole thing in its entirety, it's worth it. All right. You have not lost your innocence. It is for this you yearn. This is your heart's desire. This is the voice you hear, and this is the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours. Today he gives you his defenselessness, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made. And now the way is open, and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still an instant and go home with him, and be at peace a while. I don't know about you guys, but that's like a really profound lesson, and it kind of really speaks. At least for me it does. It speaks to the heart. It speaks to the soul. I will be still an instant and go home. It seems like December is a time in which we do long for home, for that joy and that innocence and that childhood set of memories, the set of memories that we want to have, not the ones we actually have. You know, like there's something in those horrible smattering of memories. There's something in between, like the stillness and the softness of the snow. Something, a memory of a soft blanket against our cheek, or the warmth of the hot chocolate in our hands with the marshmallows floating in it, like little life rafts to something better that we can't quite put a finger on. I know it's there. You know it's there. And yet we don't really talk about it, do we? We just kind of let it sit because it gives us an anxiety and a longing that makes us sad. We can't quite get that feeling in its entirety 100% of the time. But we want it. Boy, we want it so bad. That feeling. That impermeable membrane that we have around our bodies, around our minds, around our souls almost. You know, it's what we feel like. We have like a membrane around us that kind of keeps us from that pure joy and love that we know we are. We know that innocence of who we are. We know it exists, but we just kind of can't quite pierce that veil. You know, we're stuck in an egg waiting to be born into the other side. It's like really hard. It's a really hard hard life we've all chosen for ourselves, knowing that no matter what we do, we're not going to be 100% satisfied. You know, we buy a house and we think, okay, that's it. We bought a house. Now this is our happiness. And then there's a leak in the roof, or the faucet needs to be fixed, or something happens. Now there's a gouge in the linoleum. Or we love our house, but those heavy wooden beams above are just, we found them so charming. About a week later, we thought, boy, they're kind of oppressive. We got to paint them white so they disappear and they'll become part of the architecture. Or everything is perfect for a while, and then the wood-boring beetles come out. $8,000 later, you got to tent the house or lose it. Things happen. Crap happens. Everyone knows it's a pain in the butt to own a house. It really is. Anyone who's ever owned a house, people who long to own a house don't know how horrible it can be and how much money it can cost, because it's just ridiculous. And yet we all still want to do it. It's kind of weird. And people who do know that secret also start looking for condominiums or tiny houses. Because who the hell wants to pay that high rent? I paid my winter taxes. You know, rent. It's either rent or taxes or both, you know, in some cases. But yeah, for me, it was taxes yesterday. I paid my winter tax on my house in Detroit that I cannot afford to even pay the bills in to live there. I should have known there was a catch, and I didn't think about it. No one told me it was going to be $1,000 a month for house bills. $500 for water, $500 for electric. And it was an extra $200 for gas, but I didn't even get that gas hooked up because they kept making some excuse at the utility company. They said, oh, you can't get it hooked up until you pay the bill. I'm like, I just bought this house. I have proof. And then they go, oh, yeah, okay. Then they said they had to come and send an inspector, and they did, and there's always some excuse. And then once I got everything fixed, they finally said they could come and turn it on, and they never did. I don't even know if it's still even on. The person who I hired as a handyman to live there, I said, you live here for free. And he said he got it fixed. Next thing I know, I'm getting a bill for gas. Didn't put in his own name, so, you know, it's just like I have to pay like $5,000 just to pay off all the bills if I were to go move back into my own house. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. You can never go home again, and even if you do, it's never going to feel like home. Not like home. Might feel comfortable for a while. Till there's a car crash or shooting outside. Or an argument. There's always an argument. Or an art block, crazy Linton on New Year's Eve. You can't leave the house because he's got an AK-47 and all kinds of crazy drugs he took. And you know, he's going to be shooting off all the guns he's got for about, 4 or 5 hours until he falls into a drunken stupor on the stoop. And Big Mama got to pull him into the house. At least that was one of our weird memories. He came around, he said, if you hear gunshots in the neighborhood, it's not a gang or nothing. My friends all gave me their guns, and we're going to just shoot them all up in the air, so we don't want anyone outside. We don't want anyone to get hurt. But we want to, have our own celebration, and that's how we do it in the hood on the L block. Oh my God. Like, okay. So we hearing the guns go off, and the kids and I are inside rolling our eyes like, well, at least Linton's having a good time. We're looking down the street, looking at him, drunk as hell, stumbling through the snow, falling and laughing his ass off. It kind of made it fun for us anyway. I don't think anyone else in the neighborhood appreciated it as much as we did. We just thought, yeah, Detroit's a different kind of animal as far as cities go, but it was fun, and we felt comfortable there, which was weird, but even with that insanity. And that was that house was right behind the mosque that Malcolm X built that I could see from my bedroom window. So it was there's something crazy, beautiful, and magical all about Detroit. There's a lot of beautiful things there, and I didn't get to experience it all, and I'm kind of regretful that I didn't get to experience it all. And someday maybe I'll go back and maybe buy a condo to live after I sell my house, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's like there's no way you could get to the most beautiful places on earth. You can live in the most beautiful places on this planet, and you're still not 100% home, are you? Because this is not really our home. I've been looking at places, if my investment pays off, there's a house I'm looking at. It's about, 45 minutes from here, and it's got a swimming pool and a hot tub and 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Really beautiful house, and it's made from concrete, so can't catch fire, thank you God. I mean, seriously, I don't think I'll ever buy a wooden house again. I think, my house in Detroit's a brick house. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, but tiny rooms, Victorian, adorable. I'm a tiny person. I don't need such a huge space, but but I would love a swimming pool overlooking the mountains. And of course, I'm hoping there's a monkey. I'm hoping there's just a fun-loving monkey that wants to be my friend. I mean, that's just my fantasy right there. Monkeys are so sweet, and they're so capable of so much love, and they get really attached to you really quickly. My kids and I spent hours at this animal park in the Amazon. They were rehabilitating animals that were found in the jungle that were hurt, and they brought them there, and they protect them. And I remember hugging the monkeys, all the different species of monkeys they had there. I think they had like 10 different kinds of monkeys, and I think was it a baboon? I don't know. Maybe it was an ape of some sort. But monkeys are the ones with tails, apes are the ones without tails. And so, which always confused me because, humans, we're apes, technically. We don't have tails, but there was a little boy in India born with a tail. Does that make him a monkey? That's kind of weird, right? It doesn't make him, he's human, obviously, but he has a tail. And sometimes people have vestigial tails, like little tiny tails that don't really do anything. Tails usually give us balance when we climb the trees, right? Back when, if evolution is real. I don't think it was. But it's just kind of weird. It's very, very weird. And I just, I don't know. That one was hilarious. This kid was born with a tail, and his grandpa was saying that he's an incarnation of Hanuman. And he showed the kid's tail to people for 50 cents each. Like, way to take advantage of your brand new grandson, you jerk, right? It's like, no, let's not get that removed. That's a money maker. You just see the grandpa smiling with his thumb up in the air going, or doing the finger guns. Ugh. Oh my God. It's like ridiculous. But we're never really totally home, are we? I tried to watch Christmas movies so far, and there's a couple Christmas shows, and I try to watch them, and they're just so sad. Do you guys notice that on Netflix, the Christmas things that are coming down the pike? Now, I haven't watched, A Prince for Christmas with the baby. It's just like, really, do we really need to just push that one into a third? I don't know. It might be good. The first one was good. The second one was good. The royal wedding and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's just all fairy tale princess BS, but... and super heteronormative, cisgendered, by the way. But I tried to look at some of the off the beaten path sort of Christmas stuff and Christmas things, and it was just so sad. It was sad. The one from Norway, I can't remember what it's called, but It's in Norwegian, I think, originally, and then it does have English subtitles. And if you have the subtitles going across the screen, and then they're also speaking in English because it's a voice-over actors, the dub actors, and what's saying across the bottom of the screen is not at all what they're saying verbally, like what you can hear. So there's kind of like a disconnect in even the message of the show between those two things. Then it makes me wonder what Norwegian it actually said. But it was just sad. It was just like, again, the heteronormative cisgender thing where, she didn't bring a man home for, one more year again, and it's almost 30. It's like so predictable stuff. But it's sad. There's like a sadness to it. There's like something about it that's just so the opposite of heartwarming, the opposite of Christmas miracle. There was like another movie I watched, again, can't remember the name of it, and I barely remember the plot. It was just depressing because it was super predictable. But there is one with, what's her face in it, and I just adore her. And her brother, they're very weird. If I said that, you probably know exactly who I mean. What the hell is her name? And she's just so incredible, and I love her so much. And she's weird, just weird. And her brother is weird too. And he's the one that did the one about being an assassin and going back to his high school reunion in Detroit. And these people are after him. He's got to not bring that back to his high school reunion, and he's just trying to get through it. Anyway, why am I not even thinking of their name? It's like the name Rosemary Clooney's coming to mind. It's not Rosemary Clooney, who I love, but no, loved. God bless her soul. She did pass, but I'm not going to waste any more time thinking about it. But that one actually was a good movie because it wasn't 100% heteronormative throughout the movie, and it was very strange. There's some strange things to it. And there was the woman, one of the women who played the young high school actress. She's a high school person, but obviously she's older than that in real life. But she, not that she looks it, but she obviously, high schoolers are never played by high schoolers. It's weird. But she was, she looks identical to the person who played Jackie. Almost 100% identical to her. And I wondered if it was not like her little sister, the one who played Jackie in that 70s show. Anyway, I can't remember anyone's name today, but anyway, that movie is excellent. Like the woman's going around with her tow truck with her tinfoil hat. It's hilarious. It's a brand new Netflix movie that just came out. And Into the Wild is another excellent movie that has Christmas as part of the movie. It's not the whole thing. It's not centered around Christmas. But the last week, the stuff that was released was super sad. I don't know if you guys caught on to that. And my new friend, Jude DeKoff, my near twin, he told me that he tried this weekend to watch Christmas movies, and he just was so bored out of his mind and could not get into it. He's like, what the hell? It's like there's an energy shift, and we're just not into that anymore. And I could see possibly it's because we're moving into a different dimension, and all the old crap isn't as exciting as it was. Or maybe as you get older, you're just this is boring, same old crap. Let's go hit the Caribbean and lie on a beach in a bikini, and our tree could be our stacked up beer bottles. I don't know, It just seems like we need something different, right? I don't know. Or maybe do you guys like the old stuff? Are you getting back into the traditions this year? Or how is your Christmas going to be? How is your Hanukkah going to be? Is it traditional? Are you getting together with the family? Are you exchanging gifts every night for 12 nights? What do you have planned for Kwanzaa? Is it different this year or not? Do you feel different? A few days ago I was thinking, screw it, I don't even want to have a tree this year, screw it. And now I'm thinking I kind of actually do. Maybe. I think I might want a tree. But I think what I might do, because last year my tree died and it just bummed my son and I out. We were just so sad. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I will buy one of those little trees, but maybe first I'll buy a big thing of soil and a big pot and transplant it like immediately. So it has plenty of room to grow and a lot of air in the soil. Maybe I'll water it with bottled water. Maybe the tap water is what killed it. Lack of sunshine. We don't have good sunshine. We have sunshine like if we hang our heads out the window in the front of our, like in our bedrooms. But we don't have like a window sill to put our stuff. It's very weird. I really want to have my own place with my own yard, like a house with a yard. It would be awesome. You know, we're talking about it, and then my son's like, "Do you really want to move again? Are we running away from something moving so often?" I'm like, "We haven't moved in 18 months. And my goal was to stay here another year just so we have stability, even though it's an apartment, but I really do want to buy a house." So I don't know. But still, could I ever go home again? No, I can't. We just heard this in this lesson, right? You just can't ever really go home again unless it's our home, our true home. Because nothing on the planet's going to feel like home. It's never going to feel like that. Whether you are a star seed or you're always been on Earth and nowhere else. It's never going to feel 100% home. Anyway, I am going to go over some magical stuff. Magical, mystical Christmas things. We're going to talk about Christmas spells, some folklore, some magical related folklore as it regards to witchcraft or pretty witchy stuff. We're going to talk about spells, things you could do, whether you're a bona fide dyed-in-the-wool card-carrying witch or not. If you're just a folk magician or you just want to do something that'll add a little bit more magic and joy to your life. And you could be a Christian witch. There's no law that says you can't. In fact, there is a lady who I adore. She calls herself the Christian Witch, and she's on YouTube, and she's pretty cool. Valerie. I think Valerie Love, I think is her name. And you can just look up the Christian Witch because she does talk about that. And she talks about how they are not opposed to one another. So, you know, if you are a Christian listening to this, I don't want you to be like, oh, I'm going to tune out now, because we're going to talk about how to, you know, what to do. And maybe we could do this in a way that, I mean, because when you think about the rites and the rituals that you have in all churches, it's all pretty much the same. You know, you're lighting incense, you're lighting a candle, you're saying prayers, you're saying a chant, you're singing a chant or a prayer. It's really kind of the same stuff, just with a little bit different words, a little bit different costumes of the people in the front. Not much, though. Not much. If you're Catholic, the priests don't dance around skyclad under a full moon. They are wearing a robe, though, long robes. I mean, that's not normal streetwear, you know. So, anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk about some lore and rites, rituals, magic, and mystical December, right after this message. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's high time you did. It is the absolute easiest way to make a podcast. First of all, it's absolutely free. Second of all, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. You guys have known that I've been doing this for 8 months using the Anchor.fm app right on my cell phone, and I have done it everywhere, right? I have recorded this in my living room, my bedroom, little cafes in Quito, Ecuador, all over Cuenca. It's so absolutely easy to make your podcast, and editing is just a snap. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you. And it took me about 2.5 months to become syndicated. And now I'm available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more, and so can you. You can make money from your podcast also, and there's no minimum requirement. You get paid from your very first listener. It is everything that you need to make a podcast all in one place. So please, if you are interested in making a podcast of your very own, do not hesitate to start with Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you. The mystical, magical month of December is what we're going to talk about this evening, or night. I'm doing this pretty late. So December lore in the pagan calendar, this is taken from a really beautiful, very beautiful website called shirley2feathers.com. And she put a lot of love into this website, and it's really hasn't been updated in like over 5 years. So I hope she's okay. Maybe she just gave up on it, put all this work into it, and just it's just too much. Hopefully she's okay. But she left. If she's not okay and she went to the other side already, this is a really beautiful website. So I'm sure if she's in heaven, she's gonna hear me say that, maybe. But I really, really, really like this. So shirley2feathers.com. Now, pagan calendar December lore. I'm going to read this. And she took this from 365 Goddess and Moon Magic, which I believe is a book. It doesn't really say. In the Julian calendar, this month came 10th in succession. Thus, the name for December comes from Decem, D-E-C-E-M, meaning 10, hence the name for our modern decimal system. During this month, the nights continue to get longer, and the weather often turns wet and cold, and very cold in some cases. Many people find themselves struggling with the blues because of the lack of sunlight. Obviously, if you have seasonal affective disorder, go get some light bulbs that mimic the sun's energy. Get the natural bulbs, they're worth it. Even if they're $10, it's worth it. Trust me. Trust me, you're going to save yourself a lot of heartache, a lot of emotional stress, right? So if you have SAD or seasonal affective disorder, seriously, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. But anyway, so it says, it's not surprising to find scattered throughout the month many rituals of light, like Yule, or those that give strength to the sun. These inspire extra inner light to keep things warm emotionally and warm physically. Metaphysically, December is a good time to look within, to meditate, to regroup before the new year. Focus on magic that purifies, that heals, banishes depression, improves endurance, and increases your personal vitality. This is a time to endure, die, and be reborn. Not actually really die, though, just, talking about depression. And earth tides are turning. A time to explore the darkness, the personal alchemy, transformations, and spiritual pathways. Reach out to friends and family, and especially the lonely people and the needy people. Also extend a little of this energy to the earth and sky. so that the wheel of the year will run towards the light once more, and with it, your spirit. All right, so I thought that was kind of cool and beautiful. December moon names. Now, what did I say earlier? I called it the long night's moon, but that's not the only name for this full moon. So we're going to go over this. Era Giola, Aerageola. It's not really known where that comes from. It says other. But the San Juan tribe says that this is the Ashes fire moon. In Cherokee, this is the before Yule moon, Y-U-L-E, like Christmas, before Yule moon. The Big Bear's moon is what they call it in the Winnebago tribes. Yeah, before it was a big honking thing that gets in your way in traffic on highways. Winnebago is actually a tribe. It's kind of weird that they appropriated that name. Anyway, in the Creek tradition, it's called the Big Winter Moon. I like that, Big Winter Moon. Bitter Moon is what they call this in China. The Chinese call this full moon the Bitter Moon. It's called the Cold Moon. It makes sense in the Celtic traditions, as well as the Algonquin tribe calls this the Cold Moon. Makes sense, coldest time of the year in both Europe as well as in North America. Cold Time Moon is what the Mohawks call it. And they would know, they've got Mohawks, they've got it cold because their hairstyle makes it super cold. My oldest usually has a Mohawk. I don't think he's got one now, but usually he does. Deerhorn Shedding Moon. That's very specific, oddly specific. Must be the Plains natives. Oh yeah, Lakota Sioux, Nakota, Dakota. The Sioux, they call that the Deerhorn Shedding Moon. In Passamaquoddy tribe, they call it the Frostfish Moon. And in other places, they do call it the Heavy Snow Moon. Probably in places where there's heavy snow. The Inuit calls this the Kaitvit-Jutk. I don't know. Hopefully I said that right. Other tribes call this the Midwinter Moon or the Little Finger Moon. The Long Night's Moon is also what the Algonquins tend to call this. Taos, New Mexico tribe called it the Night Moon. In medieval English tradition, they call it the Oak Moon. The Choctaw call it the Peach Moon. Of course, they live over on the coast, probably where Georgia is now, where the Georgia peaches grow. So this is Peach Moon. Maybe it's the time where peaches are harvested, maybe? I don't know. If you know anything about that area, you would know. More than me, obviously. In Sioux and the Arapaho, I love that name so much. They call this also the Popping Trees Moon. In the Kiowa, they call it the Real Goose Moon. In the Hopi tradition, they call it the Respect Moon. The Cheyenne call it the Small Spirits Moon. And the Cherokee, I'm sorry, I missed that. That's other. We don't know what tribe calls it the Small Spirits Moon. The Cheyenne called this moon the Running Wolves Moon. I love that, Running Wolves. The Cherokee call this the Snow Moon also. And other traditions call this the Turning Moon, the Underburn Moon, the Winter Maker Moon, and the Winter Monat Moon, the Wolf Moon, and the Yellow Leaves Moon. And also the Dakota call this the 12th moon. So we do have Okay, we have a little poem I'm going to read to you about this time of year. I speak cold, silent words on a stone might... I already messed it up, damn it. It's like really tiny to read this, and I've had to like enlarge the page and it's still small. Blah. Okay. Let's call that one a do-over. We should call it the do-over moon. I'm just kidding. I speak cold, silent words a stone might speak, if it had words or consciousness. Watching December moonlight on the mountain peak, relieved of mortal hungers, the world mess, the whole mess of needs, desires, ambitions, wishes, hopes. This stillness in me knows the sky's abyss. Reflected by blank snow along bare slopes, if it had words or consciousness, would echo what a thinking stone might say. To praise oblivion, words cannot possess, as inorganic muteness goes its way. There's no serenity without the thought serene. Owl flight without spread wings, honed eyes, hooked beak. Absence without the meaning absence means. To rescue bleakness from the bleak, I speak cold, silent words a stone might speak. And that was by Robert Pack from Stone Thoughts. So we're going to talk about December birth signs. And what they're called from various traditions. And the traditions are not actually listed. December birth signs are taken from like Celtic, Nordic, astrological, etc. So from November 22nd to December 1st is the sign of the ash tree. From November 22nd to December 21st is the sign of the narcissus. Not narcissist. The narcissus is a beautiful white flower. November 25th to December 23rd is a sign of the elder tree. December 2nd to the 11th is called the sign of the hornbeam tree. December 12th to December 21st, sign of the fig tree. December 22nd itself is sign of the beech tree. So this is all very interesting. Now the sun is in Sagittarius from December 22nd to January 19th. And after the 22nd is the sign of the carnation. And after the 23rd to the 1st of January is the sign of the apple tree. December 24th is the sign of the birch tree until January 21st. Sign of the yew tree before the winter solstice. And the day of the winter solstice is sign of the fir tree. And the day after the winter solstice, sign of the mistletoe. Because remember, we do have, of course, we have the on the 21st, it's like, oh gosh, and really coming up fast. It's come up so fast. In 11 days, we have the winter solstice. I don't know if you heard it in the background. We have some dogs howling right when I said that. And one of them sounds like a wolf. The other ones just sound like dogs. There are a lot of people here with wolves. Some of them have enormous wolves, and some of them have imported illegally wolves from the Ukraine because they love wolves so much. They have them for pets. Crazy, right? some of them are wolf dogs. They're like half dog, half wolf. So they're not as aggressive as dogs. They're actually very intelligent. Very weird, right? Okay. Now the correspondences for December are, the nature spirits are the snow fairies, the storm fairies, the winter tree fairies. The herbs are holly, English ivy, fir, and of course, mistletoe. The colors of December are blood red and also white and black. Flowers for this time are holly, poinsettias, which are very poisonous. If you have little kids, don't have poinsettias around. Poinsettias or poinsettias. Holly flower. Hollies are also really like, I used to have a holly tree in my backyard. And it was like a Christmas house we lived in. And we had the siding. We had dark green siding that we put up. It was a light green house. We bought it and put up dark green siding. Beautiful. It was like a Christmas house. And this is interesting. We don't hear this noise every day. Thank God. But, and we had a holly, and, to even touch a holly bush, it's like you're going to get scratched. It's a very strange, it's kind of a mean bush or mean tree, holly trees. They're beautiful to look at. I love holly, but holly and ivy this time of year. Poinsettias, and also the Christmas cactus, which you're not going to see that in most northern states, but in the Southwest you would. The scents of December, traditionally, violet, patchouli, rose geranium. I love rose geranium. Frankincense and myrrh, of course. And you could get this in incense, by the way. And lilac. The stones of December are peridot, which is also my birthstone. It's a green. It's also known as Pele's tears. Goddess Pele rained them down upon the people after they lost their homes to the volcanic activity in Hawaii last year. For 5 months, Goddess Pele let her lava rivers flow. And someone got a gorgeous picture of her in the turning of, like, it looked like a waterfall going into a pool and then leading to a river, but it was all lava. And someone actually took a picture of Goddess Pele as she was turning around. This very beautiful goddess in the lava flow. It was one of the most incredible pictures I've ever seen in my life. And they said, I don't know, I kind of believed it, half believed Goddess Pele existed. But after I took this picture, I know for a fact she does. And she rained down peridot. It like was being thrown out of the volcano and landing, and it used to be a not very expensive stone, and all of a sudden, for some reason, it went up in value, and people were collecting them by the handfuls, and that was like thousands of dollars. So she did take care of her people after all, after she burned their houses down, but it's pretty crazy, right? But that's one of the stones for December. Serpentine and jacinth, or jacinth, is another one, or the other two. I would also venture to guess ruby, but that's not what it says here. It just, red and green tend to be traditional Christmas colors. Now, the trees for this time of year, pine, fir, and holly, of course. Now, if you guys go and watch that, it's really sweet, but a little bit sad, Christmas show. It's like 8 episodes from Norway and just started this year. It's brand new on Netflix. It's weird because they have so many conversations about the different kinds of trees that you could have for a Christmas tree. It's like kind of the only, Like only like in Sweden or Norway would they have these kind of conversations, I think. It's like so intently, like, I don't like the fir trees. Well, I like the pine trees. Oh, come on, that's just old school. Like, it's like they're having these conversations about trees constantly. That's what this reminds me of. It's kind of hilarious. But the trees are pine, fir, and holly. The animals that correspond to December this time of year: mouse, deer, horse, and bear. Oh, especially bears, because they go into hibernation this time. Birds at this time are rook. I don't even know what a rook is. Robin, and the snowy owl, of course, right? The power flow of this month, the energy of this month, is endurance, death, and rebirth. The deities that you can work with at this time, you can work them anytime, but the ones that are more traditionally honored during December, if you are wanting to work some folk magic, or you are indeed a Wiccan, and that is your religion, you would know this already, obviously. But magic can be worked in the, with the help of these goddesses, like they're your friends. The true God, just ask the Prime Creator for everything, and that's how, just ask God directly if you are a Christian and you want to do some witchcraft for yourself to improve your lot in life or whatever. Ask God for everything, but you can ask these deities to be alongside you and guide you and help you like a friend. I work directly with God, but I work with fairies and dragons and different beings and ask them for their help. Like you would ask a friend, hey, hand me that, hand me that pot or that bucket or that, bong. I don't know. What you'd ask your friend, hey, can you hand me those cookies? I mean, just whatever you'd ask a friend, you could ask these deities, like they're your friends. Goddess Hathor, Goddess Hecate, Neith, Goddess Athena, Minerva, Ixchel, Osiris, he's a god, Norns, that's Nordic, and Fates. You could ask the Fates. Now, isn't it in one of our Christmas songs? If the Fates allow. Have yourself a merry little Christmas if the Fates allow. This is the time for the Fates to help us. So, okay, let's see. There's a lot of goodies on this website. This is a beautiful website. All right, so we're going to go over now the celebrations of December. Okay. Now it says that the weather of the first 3 days of December will determine the weather for December, January, and February. And there's a lot of December weather lore, and you could look that up on farmersalmanac.com. They do have a really massive, long, huge page on all the things that they talk about. Like if there's going to be thunder, if there's any thunder in the month of December, you're guaranteed snow within 7 days. It's not a very, flow rhythmically type of adage, but it's something they've been saying for hundreds of years. Just consult your almanac. But December celebration, so it says Decem, Decem, was the 10th month of the old Roman calendar, the month containing the carefree Saturnalia, which I believe is just a festival, a happy festival. Now the Franks called it Heiligmanos, or the holy month. Heilige is holy, like Heilige Nacht, holy night. That's taken from Germany. Or holy month, because of the large number of sacred festivals. On the old Tibetan calendar, December 1st was the beginning of the new year. The ancient Mayan goddess Ixchel is still honored in southern Mexico and obviously Guatemala, with processions and rituals that bless boats and fields. She was also known as the Lady Unique, Circular Darkness, Lady Splotch of Blood, Lady of the Night. Probably not what you're thinking when you hear that in me, or what I'm not. Yeah, okay. Lady of the Night. And Lady All Embracer. Not to be confused, the Lady of the Evening. Her worship at one time extended throughout southern Mexico, the Yucatan Peninsula, and as far south as El Salvador, so that would quite possibly include, obviously, definitely Guatemala, and probably Honduras and Nicaragua, and probably, oh my goodness, the one that's British owned, Belize. So, okay. In Sweden, the sun goddess Lucina is still honored on St. Lucy's Day. That's so sweet. Lucina, the sun goddess. Oh, I'm going to look more up about this later. At daybreak, a daughter of the house wears a candle crown and serves the family with cakes. There are processions and treats. Young girls often will wear white dresses, and many of the men dress as elves, who are known as Lucy's helpers. I wish I could go to Sweden to see that. I have a friend in Sweden, Ingela. I wonder if she participates in this. The very ancient god Saturn was honored at the Roman Saturnalia, a 7-day celebration. He was pictured with a half-bare chest and a sickle or ears of corn in his hand. His consort was the goddess Ops, deity of fertility. Gifts were exchanged, and there was much wine and singing. It was a time of temporary freedom for slaves. Well, gee, man, thanks a lot for that. When they could supposedly say what they wished to their owners. Oh my God. I hate slavery. Why do we have to bring that into... why? Ugh. This is one reason why this is not our home. Everyone is free in heaven. This festival is the origin of all carnivals and revels that we still observe today. Now, the winter solstice, usually December 21st, is a time when the sun turns from its fall into darkness, back going into the light, gaining the light, and it was and is celebrated around the world. Also around the world, it's the time when virgin mothers give birth to sacred sons. Not just Mother Mary to Brother Yeshua or Jesus. Also Rhiannon gave birth to Pryderi. Isis gave birth to Horus, and Demeter gave birth to Persephone. And all of these were virgin births. In Japan, it was the time when the hiding sun goddess Amaterasu came out of her cave. The birth of Horus was celebrated about December 23rd, shortly after the winter solstice, the time of Osiris's final entombment. At this time of the year, Isis and Nephthys were said to have circled the shrine of Osiris 7 times, symbolizing their mourning and search for his scattered body parts. Set was driven away by the shaking of Isis's sistrum. In the ancient Middle East countries, celebration of the great goddess Astarte goes back to Neolithic times. This goddess was called Athtar by the Arabs, Atar Samayin in Aramaic, Ashtoreth by the Canaanites. She was known as the morning star, the celestial ruler, the mother of all gods. And you know what? My birth mother's, name, taken from my grandfather's family, Hester, is named after Astarte. Hester also means bright morning star, and also Jesus was known as bright morning sun or bright morning star, which is also known as the goddess Venus, goddess of love. It's all related. So I feel pretty close to Astarte because of my name, basically. Mother Night, not my name because I was adopted, but would have been my name if I had not been adopted, but my family's name, I should say. Mother Night, or Modresnach in the Anglo-Saxon, was a Germanic Scandinavian festival. Many of its traditions still live on in our present Christmas celebrations. The decorated evergreen tree was a symbol of the tree of life, or the world tree. The crackling Yule log was lit in honor of the returning sun. The star atop of a tree, the Christmas tree, of course, represented, this is before it's called Christmas, of course, it represented the pole star of the star goddess. The dinners and gifts were in honor of the food and prosperity given by the mother goddesses to their human children. The elves connected with our current Santa Claus are remnants of the supernatural nature fold of the old religion. Reindeer are symbols of old shamanic abilities used by the people. The mistletoe is said to have first been picked and used to collect kisses by the goddess Frigg before it became a weapon to kill her son. Frigg. What were you thinking? All right. Well, we know that Frigg is related to Odin. So, all right. At least it's comes from that tradition, that mythological, which wasn't really a myth, tradition. In the Slavonic cultures, the Slav cultures, the festival of Koleda began at winter solstice and lasts for 10 days. In Russia, this festival is called Kutuja, K-U-T-U-J, Kutuja, was later applied to Christmas Eve. Although the Slavonic name comes from the god Kolyada, it was in honor of the goddess Lada, the goddess of love. Spring, youth, and fertility is what Lada oversees. She was said to be reborn each year at this time. Each family burned a Yule log and invited their personal household gods to join in the festivities. Groups of children went from house to house singing. As a reward, they were given little gifts. One of the big events was the use of prophecy for the coming year. In Scotland, December 31st is still called Hogmanay. It is the Scottish New Year. Traditional foods served at this time are bannocks, oarsmen, shortbread, black buns, and anchor socks, which is a type of gingerbread. A long time ago, it was customary for the men to dress in animal skins, often wearing horns or antlers. At midnight, people opened all the doors and windows of their homes to let out the old and let in the new. In Wales, some people still believe that the Sin Anwyn, or the underworld hounds, run through the air at midnight on New Year's Eve, looking for victims to carry back to their master. Pots and pans are banged hard, loudly against each other to drive away these supernatural animals. In the Incan civilization, the great feast of Capakrami, or the magnificent festival that was held at solstice, this month was also time for Huarachico, or the puberty ceremony for the young boys. In the southern hemisphere, the solstice was equal to the summer solstice in the north. In Tahiti, they celebrated the Pararama Tahiti. Let me try that one again. Pararara Matahiti, I still probably am not saying it right, so sorry for the Tahitians if you are listening, or their first fruit festival, honoring the god of paradise, Roma Tane. In Tonga, there was a similar festival where the men indulged in wrestling, club fighting, and boxing. I swear I saw something similar to that at this time of year in Mexico, where they get very, very drunk and they just beat the hell out of each other. The women beat their husbands, and the husbands run away and they laugh. They like run down the street laughing with bloody heads. I don't know what, I think it's this time of year as well in Mexico, and there's one town that celebrates this. And a couple towns in Peru, I think, celebrate that. It was like just out and out boxing, fighting. In Fiji, they said that at this time of year, the Lord from the underworld came to push the yam shoots through the soil. Well, that's a good thing. Yams are good. So this is a month for contemplating the new year and what one plans to do with it. What are you going to do next year? Ideas are currently formed and allowed to germinate until the new year has started. But this is a time in which you have to think about it. This is taken from DJ Conway's Moon Magic, and I took it directly from shirley2feathers.com/December.html. If you want to look at this beautiful page, I really like her. She has like some super cool like winter art, and a really funny thing that has nothing to do with this time of year. It says, "Don't you just hate it when people don't finish what they..." Yeah, I hate that actually. All right, now we're going to go over some spells for December. There's spells and rituals you can do. Some, things that aren't really too traditional before the holidays take place fully. You can actually do a quick 2 or 3 day detox. Just go on like a little 3-day juice fast just to kind of prepare yourself. And that would be a way of getting rid of all the old and entering in the new. And it has nothing to do with religion or magic. It's just something it came to me right now. So I think God wanted me to bring that up. Maybe some of you had thought of it and then forgot it. No, I'm reminding you. Sorry. Juice fasts are hard, so I'm saying sorry. Let's see. She has a bunch of stuff on her website about magic, and this is one very easy thing. This is taken from the Italian 16th century benison, and this is beautiful. I'm going to read this to you. A Christmas salutation. I salute you. There is nothing I can give you which you have not, but there is much that while I cannot give, you can take. No heaven can come to us unless our hearts find rest in it today. Take heaven. No peace lies in the future which is not hidden in this present instant. Take peace. The gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within our reach, is joy. Take joy. And so at this Christmas time I greet you with a prayer that for you now and forever the day breaks and the shadows flee away. So I thought that was beautiful. I wanted to say that. All right. So there are some really cool, neat things you can do. It depends on what you want, what you're looking for. Let's see here. I thought I saw it, and now I'm not seeing it. It says December spells and rituals. Long Night's Moon. Let's see if it has anything there. All right, the long night's moon ritual. According to folklore, December's full moon is a long night's moon. It gets its name from the long nights of December, of course, when the full moon is closest to the winter solstice, which is in, day after tomorrow. So it is sometimes called the moon before Yule, the big winter moon, or the cold moon, as we already went over, right? There's something very special about the long night's moon. It travels extra high in the sky. It passes almost directly overhead at midnight. So make sure you go outside and take a look when this happens, probably tomorrow night and maybe the next night. Just, you could probably do this on either night, I'm thinking, because it's kind of the full moon itself is officially at noon during the day. So I think within 12 hours either way, midnight the night before or the night after. So if you forget, The correspondences for this moon are the colors white, red, and black. The gemstones are obsidian, ruby. See, I felt ruby. I was feeling ruby. Obsidian, ruby, and serpentine. The trees are pine and holly. The gods are Minerva, Osiris, Athena, Persephone, and Hades. The element is fire. Good things, it's going to be cold outside. Herbs are ivy, mistletoe, holly, and berries, and cinnamon for that specific day. This is what the ritual is. Think about the things in your life that you've had to endure. Sometimes a part of us must die in order to be reborn. Now is a perfect time for spiritual alchemy. Time to evaluate your life and know that you will survive the dark times. Plan for a ritual to help you remain steadfast in your convictions. If you've already put the darkness behind you, take your good fortune and share it with others. When it's cold outside, open your heart and home to friends and family. Reach out to people who might be suffering from the chill of winter, either spiritually or physically. So plan your ritual around the correspondences I just gave. If you want to do something super simple, just bring a white candle or a red candle or even a black candle. In fact, you could light the black candle and speak of the things you wish to get rid of and banish. Black is for banishing. Red might be you light and speak of your desires. White might be to purify yourself. So maybe do the black and then the white and then the red. You can make it up as you go along. But you could bring a branch of pine with you, to kind of brush away the negative stuff in your aura, right? So that would be the first thing to do this month. You can have a pagan Christmas tree this year if you wish. Christmas tree is actually a pagan ritual. My friend Wayne mentioned that again to me last year, and I remember thinking that too, yeah, it is. It really is. It's a pagan tradition. You're bringing in a piece of the great outdoors inside because you're celebrating life. You're celebrating the joy of new growth. If you cut a Christmas tree at an angle, it's going to grow by next year into another Christmas tree. I don't know if you guys knew that. If you cut it straight across, the tree itself will die. But if you cut it at an angle, it will live and create a brand new tree. So let's see here. On this website, the rest of it's pretty much stuff for the new year, because there's a lot of spells in the new year. But here's a spell for Christmas Eve, and that's coming up. So if you think about it now, this was written December 24th, 2004. Okay, so it says the incense of the day is dill and the color of the day is coral, but that might not be this year, and every time it's different. And this is taken from Llewellyn.com, LLEWELLYN.com. So, but this is still very good. On Christmas Eve, you can reconnect with some of the pagan imagery associated with this time of year. Santa Claus is really a red-robed shaman who works with reindeer medicine and can fly through the night. He brings gifts by sneaking through your chimney in the middle of the night, but his true gift is the gift of transformation, of bringing love and cheer to a time of darkness and coldness. Honor Santa by leaving a few cookies out on a plate tonight. That's, of course, on Christmas Eve. If you have a chimney, leave them near the hearth. If you want to honor Santa, you could give magical gifts that honor each of your loved ones. Gifts that matter are gifts that come from the heart, that bring love, joy, and healing. When you're wrapping your gifts, have the intention that is the best of the best for their highest good for the recipient. And say a small prayer. God and Goddess, bless this gift I give. May it bring joy and love to my loved one. So that was very sweet. There is, let's see. I wanted to tell you today there's a spell. It's kind of weird, but it's actually today written for specifically today by Storm Fairy Wolf. Color of the day today is topaz. Incense of the day is bay laurel. You could take this into tomorrow, though. It's not going to be a problem. This spell assists you with contacting a gnome, an earth elemental. Typically, these beings provide strength, steadfastness, endurance, and the ability of transmutation. Invoke them when you feel weak, unruly, or in danger of being led astray. You need a black candle and a simple rock large enough to at least nearly fill the palm of your hand. Well, you know, maybe you could do this in combination for the full moon ritual, if you want to do one. Facing the north, or the direction that your tradition associates with the earth element. So if you're Native American, just go with that. Ground and center yourself, and then place the candle on your altar with the rock in front of it too, so that from your vantage point, the rock completely obscures the candle flame. Enter a trance, gaze at the rock so that you can see the light of the candle around it. Call out to the gnomes, the conscious beings of earth, and have them appear before you by saying, "Creatures of the silent earth, reveal here to me your form. Creatures of the silent earth, reveal here to me your form. Creatures of the silent earth, reveal here to me your form." And you could also add a 3 times 3, so mote it be, at the end of that. Look into the stone with the witch's eye, your inner sight. Allow the gnomes to reveal themselves to you, and once they have, you may commune with them as you wish. I just had to say that. I thought that was kind of a cool one for today. From another page I found at llewellyn.com, taken from 2016 on Christmas Day. And they have, by the way, they have the spell of the day every single day of the year at llewellyn.com. I just discovered that. So if you're a witchy type like me, I might want to do some of these things and look into it. I think it's pretty cool, actually. So the Christmas wish spell, this is very magical. It says, at least for that year, the color of the day was amber, and the incense of the day is marigold. Now, I've been trying to cultivate a golden aura for the past week. You could do a silver aura, golden aura, but it seems to me the color gold is so powerful at this time of year because it gives us this inner warmth. And, you know, I was sick, so for a few days, God told me to, at the 8th chakra level, imagine a golden sun shining down on me and warming me up and connecting to that 8th chakra. And it seemed to help. It actually, I do feel quite a bit better. I'm still a little bit congested, but I've been eating wheat, and I know better, but I eat wheat, and that's what happened, basically. But overall, except for feeling really run down today, and I think I was just working for God all night in my sleep, but the illness itself is over. It didn't go into bronchitis. I didn't get pneumonia. I didn't get any of the yuckier things that normally happen. So thank you, God. I'm really grateful for that sun meditation. It helped. So amber and marigold, it says, at Yule and Christmas, we celebrate the God aspect and his birth, the sun God, and Jesus, or Brother Yeshua. These are celebrations focusing on joy, renewal, warmth, and abundance as we look towards spring. Now, early pagan celebrations at this time of year honored the horned god. Remnants of this are still evident at Christmas, but now reindeer fills this role. Now, this spell is meant to bring abundance into your life. So on your altar, place a stag or a reindeer decoration. Surround it with holiday symbols of virility and abundance, such as pine cones, pine nuts, and fruit-shaped ornaments and other nuts. Light a red candle, and on a piece of stationery using a gold ink craft pen, write your wish. Then seal it in an envelope. Let the candle burn down a while, then hide your charm. At the summer solstice, burn your written charm in a ritual fire. That sounds pretty cool, right? So it's a Christmas spell to have a wish come true. It's a wish that might take a year long, though, right? Alrighty. Let's see. Now my browser's just not doing anything, so I'm going to pause this again for a minute. Alright, so the last spell I'm going to talk about tonight is called the Christmas Spirit Spell. So if you're having a hard time getting into the spirit of the season, this one might do the trick. The only thing you need for this is a red candle and a way to light it. That's it. So, pretty simple, right? You can maybe even do this one after your full moon ritual. Come home and do that one, or go back inside and do that one, and then you kind of cast a couple, at one time, and then you kind of bring in all the magic at once. I think there's power in numbers, so I think this one might be important. Okay, you guys aren't gonna believe what happened. Remember I said I had to take a quick pause. My browser completely stopped working, and then it shut down, and then my internet stopped working on I had my phone attached to my computer, and my phone was fine with the internet, but the computer just stopped. I had to fix an adapter or something. I had to shut down the browser, turn it back on, and look up all the stuff again. It was there, but it's it took a while. It was ridiculous. Anyway, the history, it came up as just a blank page, and then all of a sudden it filled in. But I was like, are you kidding me right now? It was 20 minutes I've been waiting for you in less than 20 seconds. So yay. All right. So casting instructions for the Christmas Spirit Spell. This one's just to bring the magic of the season in. All right. So find a place where the candle will not be disturbed. Before lighting it, hold the candle close to you and say, with this burning flame, smiles, joy, and love will be brought to my home. And then after you light the candle, say, by the power of this burning flame, I release the Christmas spirit into my home. And then you let the candle burn itself out. And then the person who wrote this said, I wish everyone a great holiday. Yay. This person has been on the site for 8 years, Gold Hawk, and she has, I think she might be a he, I don't know. Doesn't say either way. But this person has been here for a while, and this is spellsofmagic.com. You could join and for free, and then you could just put your own spells for free, or just join and then just keep looking up stuff. Lots of articles, videos, fortunes, forums, members area, and you could even do some shopping if you want some magical shopping time. And there's also groups, so it looks pretty interesting. So there you go. So yeah, you could do that, and you can make your own words if you don't like these words. You can use a green candle if you want an energy of healing, but the Christmas spirit. You could light a candle before Christmas Eve, a red candle, maybe a red and white one, to call Santa Claus to you. And you could also write a letter to Santa Claus. There's no law says you can't do it. You could write a letter to Santa Claus and put it inside your chimney, or burn it and he'll get the message of it. Or you can mail it in the mailbox. You don't even have to put any address on it. Just say Santa Claus, North Pole. You can put if you want to put yours, you can. There's one of my favorite movies was about letters to Santa, where the people that worked in the post office, they just threw it in a big bin, and they had so many bins they just didn't know what to do. Big, huge bags full of mail. And this guy shows up, he starts working there, and he's like, I'm going to start answering these. And he started going to people's homes and like bringing them money, bringing them food, bringing them joy, just all kinds of stuff. It was such a beautiful movie. It's one of my favorite movies. When it came out, I was like, oh my God. That and Michael, that one came out on Christmas Day. About Archangel Michael, and this is his last hurrah on earth before he goes back to heaven permanently. And he's living with this lady, and he's like drinking and feeling up the townswomen. Played by John Travolta, who makes an excellent Michael, by the way. Especially an old, worn out, a little bit out of shape Michael. Archangel Michael himself, I think, has more of a sandy blonde hair, maybe a little bit of ginger in it. Gorgeous angel, and he's in pretty good shape, at least from when he appeared to me. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed this Christmas magic, folklore, and correspondences episode. I hope it gets you into the Christmas spirit, because it's kind of important to kind of have that. It's an old tradition, but you can start new ones this year. If you feel like not quite into the old stuff, get into something new for the 5D. You can do it. Anyway, I still want to hear your Christmas stories. If you have any magical stories, mystical things you want to tell me, anything that's to do with any one of the holidays, regardless of religion, but at this time of year. And also, if you've ever seen the fat man streaking across the sky, I want to know about it, so please send those in. All right, that's it, guys. I'm signing off with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension, as well as the Christmas spirit. Talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Do you ever wish you could look into the next chapter in your book of life and see what's coming next? What does the universe have in store for you? I can help you with that. I will give you a Celtic cross reading, which is 10 cards, or you can ask me 3 questions, and I use 3 cards per question. So that's 9 cards, or I can channel your higher guidance, or maybe God directly for you. Maybe you want to talk to your dear departed Aunt Edna, because maybe you have a few questions and she was the smartest person you knew. If your deceased relatives are available, or your ascended masters, I can channel them for you personally. Let me have 1 hour to show you the future in your next chapter of your book of life. Readings are $75, and it takes me 1 hour to 1.5 hours to complete. And for this price, you will also be hooked up to the healing grid around the planet for free, which means yours truly, me, I will be giving you Reiki 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the rest of your life. All you have to do is let me know. MetaphysicalSoulspeak@gmail.com, and we will explore your future together.